I'm not gonna share life lessons with you because Mike did it better than I could. You don't get too old. One thing we did is joy dog food for years. We worked with people with competition dogs, working dogs. Prior to our involvement with PKC, actually the youth hunt was the first involvement we really had with PKC. We had done some things as far as giving away some dog food, doing some things with some of our local hunts. But we had done things, and the focus in many dog fancies was the adult competition. And as I've mentioned to some others, one thing we did from the standpoint of trying to identify our products as being something that was acceptable from a quality standpoint, from a customer value standpoint. And Mike, you may remember this, and some of the others would run ads that would feature a guy and his dog. And it was a dog that had accomplished something, and obviously if the man was handling it, the man didn't mess up the dog too bad, or he wouldn't have won. But the one thing we found out was with adults, and I'm more of an adult than most of you now when it comes to age, is one thing you learn is oftentimes adults get a little bit of a jaded view. There's always that guy that had the stud dog that didn't produce the way he said it would. Somebody who was on a cast with him 20 years ago and feels like they got slicked by another handler, or somebody that was a judge that didn't give them a fair shake, that was on a panel and didn't buy into what they had to say. So there was always that little bit of a tick there from the standpoint of every time you featured somebody, there would be somebodies that would say, well, yeah, why are they talking about him? And we never paid it to these people. They were customers that allowed us the privilege of featuring them. So actually my dad and I sat down late in the 70s and said, this is a rabbit hole that's going to get us in trouble. For every guy we make mad, we're going to make somebody upset, or somebody's going to feel slighted. And together, we decided, let's do something with kids. If you do something with kids, because they aren't making the buying decision when it comes to buying dog food. If there's adults out there that are upset about what you're doing with kids, then the truth is, those are probably adults we don't want as customers anymore. They aren't people that we want to associate with. You know, it's going to cut a kid's throat, avoid the cast. So that's where the whole concept, and we've done it with other dog sports, but the first place we did it was at the PKC. My dad at that time was spending 9 months of the year on the road with my stepmom. He was much more of a people person than I am. And I stayed home and ran the business. And of course, he encountered Jarvis. And we know Jarvis was always one that if you had an idea, he'd listen, and then he'd tell you about 4 ideas that he had that you wanted to be involved in. But anyhow, they reached an agreement that they would do something for kids, and when Mike went through it, there was only 12 of you, right, Mike? 13 maybe? 16. Had to go through a regional qualifier to get there. So there was just, you didn't have a room like this, you could have sat everybody at this table. So they had to go through the regional qualifier, so that means you had to have clubs willing to put that on. We put up some money from the standpoint of scholarships to go into a scholarship fund that would be there when Mike decided which third trade school we wanted to go to, that there would be some money there to write a check to him. And it worked. And not only did it work from a business standpoint, but it created an opportunity, certainly among the PKC group, that even adults that didn't get along when they were on a cast together, they had a common ground, and that was the kids. And as time went on, the program was expanded, and I remember Aurora, I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people sitting there until the second round came back because it was kids. So if you can do something that gives kids an opportunity, and if you can do something that creates the opportunity for adults to let down your guard, because they have common empathy for kids in a sport they're involved in, that's pretty much what it is. And if you happen to have people that say, you know what, I don't know if your dog food's any good, I'm going to feed it anyhow, that was a little foresight. And we've had the opportunity for all these years to see PDP kids their first year, their second year, their third year, their fourth year. I mean, you can't even find jackets or shirts small enough for some of these kids. You know, I guarantee you there's been more t-shirts went home and mom used them as a nightgown than the kids used them once they left here. Because they might never grow into it, because all we could get was 2X's in. But it's an opportunity for the kids to function in an adult game, if you will, but be able to do it with other kids and build those relationships with each other. Kids from different parts of the country. You know, where would that happen if you didn't have a collections opportunity like this? You know, when would a kid from Mississippi ever meet a kid from Michigan? And they come up with familiarities, they come up with differences, they come up with a better understanding of the world around them. And hopefully that helps them grow up to be better adults. One thing that we had, a little bend in the road, as Mike alluded to, back in 2003, through a number of circumstances, we decided that we were going to close our manufacturing. And we were going to sell the brand. Be it good or bad for the purchaser of the brand, I always said they put a UPC code on my backside, and I went along with the Joy name. And I worked with 2 different companies over a period of about 10 years. And neither of those companies, in my mind, had a real focus from the standpoint of building a brand. They certainly didn't have a focus from the standpoint of building a brand with my idea, my kind of people that use dogs for something other than sitting on the couch. That doesn't mean your coon dog can't sit on the couch. Don't get me wrong. Saying that. Some of them don't know how to get off the couch. But it's people from the heartland. It's people that have roots that go beyond what you're seeing in the papers or today or on social media today. And then we had a guy that used to be somebody who wanted to feed Joy dog food, but he was too poor to buy Joy dog food. And every once in a while he'd win about get a hunt. Am I right, Wade? Pick one dog.
You're right.
And that dog got Joy and the other one got whatever. And Wade started his own brand, was successful with it. Wade was also getting his pet food manufactured, the same company that those who Joy label at that time. They didn't know what to do with a brand. They certainly didn't know what to do with me, because I wouldn't keep my mouth shut in my opinion for myself. So they managed to recover something by selling the brand to Wade and making him take me along with him. So I got out of their hair. Wade got a brand. We worked together for a period of time. And I decided I was going to retire. And in turn then, he got eventually stuck with my son. who the reality is a lot better salesman than I ever was. And is willing to spend a lot more time on the road than I ever was. So the one thing I would say to you adults, God doesn't make any bad kids. Kids that go bad is because the adults run. So do your part to make sure that you're an adult that helps that kid be everything that God enabled him to be. And kids, pay attention to the adults. Pay attention to your parents. Pay attention to your Sunday school teacher if you have that opportunity. And as you get older, you'll figure out this bell rings true, and this one has a little bit of a ding to it. Use the common sense that God gave you. Even ask Him to help. And you'll be better for it. Thank you. Thank you, Wayne.